Welcome back, everybody. It is Rivals Fight Night. I'm your host, Chris Bucket, alongside our casters for tonight. Do it both regions, the one and only Avast. How we doing?
Great. I mean, in honor of one of our teams playing today, I'm also in the Oblivion, as you can see. So, we're keeping it consistent.
The Obliviones are coming out tonight. ZP, let's talk a little bit about what we saw last week, because we crowned our first Rivals Fight Night champions, not only in NA, but also here in the EU.
Yeah, we saw last week on the EU end of things, Virtus.pro continued their streak of dominance. Of course, it looked good in the official Marvel Rivals tournaments, and in our tournament, much the same. They were able to come in and just keep our production on track with a crisp 4-0 in the finals. And of course, on the North American side, which we'll get to later today, Sentinels looked all the more dominant. But word on the street is that the test they'll have today from our new teams in 100 Thieves and FlyQuest will be very harsh.
We are going to see some awesome matches throughout the day, and of course, we're starting with our Challenger Series. Let's talk a little bit about this format for the tournament. ZP, I love it. Basically, we have two up-and-coming teams that are going to challenge the returning champion. It's best of fives until we get to that final. What should our fans expect? A lot of games tonight? Or maybe some blowouts?
Honestly, whenever you're in a brand new game, you never quite know what to expect. But here's what we do here at Rivals Fight Night is that we grab two of the very best teams of each region, generally rotating between the top 5 or 6 within the region. They fight it out, and the winner gets the right to fight our defending champion. And let me tell you, even when you think you'll be one-sided, even when you think you know a favorite, you don't know anything until the teams actually play. And that's a benefit of just getting the top teams in week after week.
I was told we are best of fives all day long. First to 3 wins is going to be moving on. We're going to keep this show high pace. So Avast, let's talk a little bit about our competitors on the night and what we're expecting. Virtus.pro is waiting in the wings. What did you see from them on week 1?
I mean, ZP was talking about it. Virtus.pro, both in the Marvel Rivals Invitational and also in us in the Rivals Fight Night, they are dominant. They looking like the team to beat. ZP said they're the schedule resetter, the schedule clearer, and they keep everything on track. They look really, really good across the board, extremely flexible, and in particular, just on those Winter Soldier comps, the Bucky comps, just look so dominant. So they're the team to beat. I mean, right now, that is like everyone's eyeing at them like, okay, I can't wait. And by everyone, I mean it's our two challengers really between Oblivion and OG Esports.
We've got some good games, and the first one is loading up here in just a moment. Oblivion taking on OG Esports. And ZP, for everyone who watched the Marvel Rivals Invitational, OG Esports was in that EU finals. Today, we get a new look at the players, and of course, there's been a patch. Any changes you expect to see from the new roster?
You know, in terms of changes, it's always hard to tell after a new patch. This patch was more on the minor side, but it did include big buffs to Human Torch, right? And there's always a world where, especially in EU, where flyers are favored from time to time, like back in the MRI Invitational, you would see Storm versus Storm mirrors, right? So you got some buffs to Torch, you got some buffs to Iron Man. There's a world where teams might come in here and go, hey, we're going to give that a shot here today, right? That could be something that could happen. Also, a few Cloak and Dagger buffs where Cloak was already getting used, so I'm not entirely sure there's going to be much of a change there. It's like, well, she was good at being used, and she got a bit better, so she'll still probably be used.
Yeah, if there was a Loki on the map, sometimes you'd see her used twice. Avast, let's talk a little bit about comps that you expect to see. We're going over to EU. NA had about a thing in every single map. What are you expecting to be the preferred playstyle from Europe?
Realistically, I mean, especially with our challenges here today, we're probably going to see a lot of Double Shield, Magneto, Doctor Strange. It really just depends on the map a little bit, but I mean, those, especially for OG, they've been favoring it a little bit in the more recent games compared to more dive-centric style. You know, we haven't seen quite as much Hulk or the Thing like you talked about, and we know we're going to see him. There's still been no nerfs, no buffs either, but definitely no nerfs. I mean, Bucky, Winter Soldier is a staple. Throw in some Star-Lord and combine it with, I mean, in OG in particular, Wolverine. And I would love to talk about the Oblivion comps, but realistically, no one's really seen them yet. They're kind of the unknown. They're kind of the unknown. So really, I think we're just going to be likely seeing very similar comps between both of them, but we're not totally sure. But I think you're going to be seeing a lot of Winter Soldier, a lot of Magneto, a lot of Doctor Strange. Maybe a little mix, and then on the strategist side, of course, Loki, one of the strongest strategists in the game currently, having the copy. I mean, you can't get around Loki. They're just so powerful with their overall kit. And then, like ZP hit it on there a little bit, Cloak and Dagger received some buffs. We could see her, she's got actually a lot better tanky ability now with more direct healing buffs. So we could see Cloak and Dagger coming out a lot more, but probably going to be Invisible Woman.
I was watching OG. They had success on Wolverine. Tanuki, please get your Wolverine protected tonight. If you're just looking at this OG squad, let's catch you up for the first time. We've got Tanuki there on a Black Panther. He's basically great at all flankers, ZP, but talk to me about the rest of the lineup. What should we expect to see from this squad?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you bring up the Tanuki thing. Just to touch on that real quick is that, yeah, it resulted in Wolverine getting banned a whole lot by Virtus.pro back in MRI. So in turn, you had Tanuki playing a whole lot of Star-Lord, but still within the realm of the flanking DPS. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think this is mostly accurate, aside from the fact that, you know, on the tank end, it's going to be likely a lot of Strange and Magneto comps, as Avast was saying earlier. Ken on the Invisible Woman, X on the Cloak and Dagger. It's gonna, you know, I think it'll be kind of standard from what we saw in MRI. But also, again, the fact is that, you know, this is a format where you can experiment a little bit more. So given how much in flux and how much the comps seem to change from week to week, wouldn't be surprised to see a curveball or two.
Avast, what did you learn about the EU comps last week? Is there a preferred style, and will we see any Hulk or Thing played?
Honestly, I mean, when we had LG playing, we had to see a lot of Venom. If anything, there was a lot more Venom being played. They really, trust me, they really loved the Venom. But I mean, I think honestly, we're probably going to see very, very similar compositions here from the Vanguard angle. It's just kind of a question of, have teams decided to be like, oh, we're actually going to try, especially with Thing not being seen as much in EU, maybe the Hulk being thrown into that mix a bit more. It's kind of just depends, obviously, but it's like ZP was talking about, like, those have been very, very popular comps for OG. And, you know, Oblivione, like I said, we don't really know what they're going to play yet. I'm imagining we're going to see very similar comps because those comps are strong for a reason. So I really think that's probably going to be the lineup.
There's been very limited competition. OG Esports were top 2 in their one tournament. We haven't seen Oblivion yet. Let's take a look at their roster for the night. And I'm hoping we're going to see, okay, we do have another tank-loving Hulk main. Maybe we'll get some Magneto. I do expect a lot of flankers here. Are we going to see a flank off? Is it going to be dive v dive ZP?
It very well could be, but also when it comes to Oblivion, the one thing about this roster that you don't immediately see from this graphic is that they also have a very deep roster. Like, you're talking like hero shooters circa 2018 level. We got over 10 people on the roster. They got flexibility. I was getting quizzed on, like, what are the rules for substitutions between maps. So this is a roster that actually has a lot of flexibility in terms of how they're going to play map to map. So I think a little bit of rarity right now in the scene, but I would expect Oblivion to be one of the teams where when they shift from, say, map 1 to map 2, going from domination to either convoy or convergence, this is going to be a team that is going to say, hey, we have a specialist we want to bring in. So I'm actually quite excited to see them play here today.
We've got our Ban and Protect coming up here in just a moment. The teams are ready to go. Avast, you've been in this pro scene for a while. You've done it in other titles, and you've been a part of a 10 to 15 person roster. Do you like the idea of bringing out your best starting 5 for special maps and modes?
To be honest, no. I don't. I think it's no esports team ever has yet to have the management style of more traditional sports yet. It's really hard to do. There's so much scrim time and so little downtime that goes into just practicing, especially in a fast-paced game like Marvel Rivals, where it's very hard to narrow down and to really, you know, or to pretty much be like, oh, here's our map-specific rosters, right? This could just be the fact that we're in a very early esports scene here for Marvel Rivals, so there's a chance that maybe we're figuring out what's the best roster, right? Maybe we're figuring out like what's going to work best for us player-wise. So there could be a lot of different options going in for Oblivion, but historically, no. I mean, I'm sure everyone, if you're fans of other games like Counter-Strike, if you've seen EG's experiments with like large rosters too, like it's hard. It's very, very hard to do. So I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a fan, but they could be the first.
It's going to work today, Oblivion. It's going to work today. Royal Palace is going to be our starting battlefield. ZP, walk me through this format. I love what you guys have set up here.
Yeah, so what we're doing right now, you know, we've done a lot of hero shooter formats over the years. In this case, we're opening up with a domination map to start with, where, you know, it's at least relatively even in terms of sides and everything else. And then the losing team gets to choose which map to bring us to, and they're not locked down by mode. They can choose any map regardless of mode. The only rule is that the losing team cannot bring us to a map that we've already been to within the given series. So the losing team has a lot of power here to go to a map they feel most comfortable on after taking a loss. loss, which increases the odds of a really close series, but also at least lets teams show their strongest looks.
We got our first two bans, ZP. Sorry to cut you off, but Adam Warlock is not going to be in the game thanks to OG Esports. What are we seeing on the other side? Our first Protect's about to be locked in. Hella will be on the map.
Very common Protect, and also very interesting to see Warlock banned first here, because I mean, it was in the Oblivion like, oh, this is one of our favorite heroes for our strategist players, is Adam Warlock. So they maybe recognize the power of Adam Warlock, maybe want to get rid of the team up as well, especially when you combine with the popularity of Star-Lord, who's been a really popular duelist. Remove the cocoon, the pretty much the regeneration cocoon, bringing them back to life. So I do think that's a very interesting pick, and Loki being protected, I think also pretty standard.
Loki is going to be in the game. We will see some copies. What will we not see in the field? Namor. Okay, so dive has been enabled with no Namor. Basically no ultra defense. Is Bucky going to be allowed?
Well, we'll have to see here, right? I think banning Bucky would be a bold move from Oblivion, given the fact that if you know the other team really wants to run Loki, maybe you're running Loki yourself. That also is one of the greatest enablers of Winter Soldier right now, right? In the fact that you can just continually reset your Kraken impact off the clones. So the fact that Bucky is being allowed and the fact that Loki is protected, yeah, we're probably going to see some Winter Soldier on both sides.
Okay, here we go. Bans and protects are in. Do we have a winner or loser so far, Avast?
A little early to tell. I mean, with both Loki and Hela protected, we're going to be seeing likely that team up where both teams here might be playing Hela, looking to get reses from those final limbs that you get, bringing back either the Thor or a Loki that you're playing. Doctor Strange being banned means that we might see Thor. We might see the triple gods of pretty much the Norse gods coming out here, right? So the Pantheon comp, one could say. So it is very possible. I mean, we've got on the lore accurate map. We're on Royal Palace, right? So the whole theme is just all fitting together.
And of course, for anyone who is not familiar with Marvel Rivals, something unique about this game is the team up ability. And we saw Hela being protected. If you have a Thor and a Hela in the same map on the same squad, ZP, what's the bonus of working together?
Well, the bonus of working together is that you might get knocked down as Thor, but Hela's going to get you right back up. Also, as Hela, you're just a little bit pumped that you're working with Thor, so you get a little bit of extra damage over the top. Same deal, of course, with Loki. Get there. Also, even if you're still up and Hela gets a knockout, well, you're going to get extra HP in turn. So Hela, despite all the sibling rivalry, actually working pretty well with the other Norse gods. But Avast, we're getting into it here. And as expected, gonna see Hela on both sides.
A lot of Hela, a lot of Loki, and of course, Invisible Woman, not to be expected here, is the poke. Coming out a little bit early, and Venom here for Enzo means they're gonna be trying to put a lot of pressure onto the backline for these strategists. OG Esports trying to take a lot of space, forcing out some of the copies pretty early, but no one going down yet.
Yeah, right now, both teams just kind of poking out, trying to see where they're gonna get their first edge. Hela's, of course, looking for picks into the backline, but right now, speaking of backline, a little bit of Venom action right here, directly to the back, getting Hela real low, taking down the Hela threat early. And it's a nice start here for OG.
I mean, and they're doing exactly what I would expect for OG. They're keeping Enzo very, very aggressive, keeping pretty much a lot of pressure here on a strategy for Oblivion, as they're going to lose the first fight, making a swap themselves. As already, or sorry, not making a swap, I should say. They're keeping the Venom. And they're just going to be trying to answer that aggression here. As OG peeking very, very aggressively, looking to get some poke. I mean, they're going to have the Galactic Legend up pretty early. Some ult bank looking pretty good for OG as they're going to fight on the flank.
Yeah, I mean, OG too, they're just going up and just, actually making Oblivion, like, take even more time before they can contest the point. I mean, this is standard stuff on a domination map, right? Where if you can take a fight a little bit off the point, it's to your advantage, because if you lose, you can immediately come right back in. But Boundary can be used early here by Oblivion. Can be answered here by Luna ult. Fate of both worlds can. Just dancing right now, keeping OG Esports nice and healthy. But early pick, Hela versus Hela. Sudi giving Oblivion the 6v5 vest.
And Jake's with the very early boundary there to start this fight. Maybe going to cost Oblivion as they use the boundary just to get onto the point. They're missing that strategist ult now, as there's Tanuki dropping the Galactic Legend, finding one. Some of the pressure onto the strategist, but OG should be able to pretty easily peel. Even with the Feast of the Abyss, just not enough. I mean, there's just so much health for OG Esports. And Oblivion just having some issues. And this is also just kind of a problem with this point with the archives in particular on Royal Palace, is that it's so hard to make a hit, but that's going to help.
Yeah, again, Sudi coming in with the pick on the Tanuki, and for Oblivion, still not in control of the points, still looking for their way in, but you get an early pick off like that, you start creating an opportunity. Enzo, though, into the back. Right now, just getting heavily focus fired, but the thing about Venom, Avast, doesn't die easily. Them just sits here and, can just do these longer distraction flanks.
And the problem is that because of that early pick onto Sudi, there's a lot of damage gone for Oblivion. They're still trying to just stay alive in this fight. OG Esports, though, currently down to Nuki, missing some damage of their own. There's going to be the Goddess of Death. One down, a lot of damage here on the point as OG Esports still coming up on soon. Another God of Mischief. They're going to have another copy as they're going to be taking down Andraco, which means that the heals are gone for Oblivion. They're getting staggered. I think the fight's just pretty much over here, ZP.
Yeah, I mean, this many down, the odds of turning it, not going to happen. And yeah, pretty decisive round coming in early for OG Esports. But again, you look back to their performance in the Marvel Rivals Invitational, not too surprising. But things change a lot here in Royal Palace from stage to stage. Throne Room, different plan of attack than what we just saw in the archive.
But still going to be seeing a lot of priority for the high ground. I imagine we probably won't see too much change in the comps. I mean, Star-Lord still we've seen a lot of Star-Lord play across both regions just because of the mobility given by the rocket propulsion, just being able to do so much damage so quickly. You can force a lot of cooldowns. You have so much skybox to maneuver around. And Venom, I mean, like I talked about a bit, I think EU, they love Venom. They really do. They've been playing more Venom than the Thing. Maybe, I'm not quite sure where the regional split is happening there, but I mean, Venom is just so incredibly mobile, so tanky, like you talked about, because of the symbiotic resurgence. And you have the ability to do some incredible one-shot combos here because that primary fire for Venom can headshot. If the based off his ult, the Feast of the Abyss, it does 50% of the target's current health. So the higher health you have, technically, the more damage it does, right? So I do think there's a lot of very interesting combo opportunities, dive opportunities, and there's been some great strategy ults kept alive for OG Esports in this first fight here. As Oblivion, they're going to have a copy of the Loki ult of their own, but they're going to have to be very, very careful because of that ult making difference.
Right now, just taking a look at Ash, diving into the back, getting hit immediately. A little bit of CC from Luna. Etsu, though, finding Demon super early, putting OG up 6 versus 5. Fate of Both Worlds going to be popped immediately in response by Ash. Now,
making it the point here, ZP, and the Meteor Rim use means they're going to try to find a strategist. There it is. Perfect pick. That's exactly what you want. Forever on the Magneto. That's exactly what you're looking for the Meteor Rim. And it's just pretty much more strategical pop here on the point, but there's going to be another Meteor Rim coming out. Can they get the strategy they want? No. There's the bubble. Great bubble. Forever getting a lot of impact here on the point, ZP.
Meanwhile, Enzo is able to get to the back, find Sudi one more time. Both teams down one now, except Oblivion just getting a little bit crushed into the back line. Andre super low, can't stay alive, and Enzo's just being a complete monster right now, Vast.
Just the power of the Venom. You just put so much pressure onto the backline. You're constantly a threat. And you just see, again, also the power of the Star-Lord combined in this comp. Even with all the value that Forever got, bubbling Jakes, keeping them alive from that opposing Meteor Rim, getting a pick onto Alex. They just wait out the fight. They have plenty of health as Tanuki just going to pop the Galactic Legend, clean them up once the strategy ults are gone.
So again, OG Esports with first control. Oblivion looking for a way back in. Andre has got a Mischief on deck. And it's Demon coming in here. Early Galactic Legend. So he's going to be able to get anything here right now, putting a lot of damage into the Venom, but not necessarily the best target right now of all things.
The answer would be no. They saved the bubble, but I mean, they had counter bubbles for OG Esports. They had the regeneration domain. There is going to be a Star-Lord fight. They're going to be trying to take this flank fight. Oh, just not able to get the pick in time. And I mean, that's a lot of damage off the field already. Is Oblivion, they're probably just going to have to back. They have no ults. They can sit here and poke a bit, but they don't want to stagger.
No, not at all. And for Oblivion, this is like one of those rough spots where, okay, you're down one, you don't want to give up even more, but you're still waiting for your Star-Lord to get back into the fight. Maybe Sudi's able to get a pick off here. We have Enzo.
Solo forced by the Venom ZP, getting that Fate of Both Worlds out. I mean, that's actually humongous. Just a solo dive forcing that is exactly what you want.
I was able to grab one on the OG Esports, but here we go. Tanuki back in, Blaster Barrage, Ash finding Alex, and right now, time running low for Oblivion as they need to make this push work. They're able to get Tanuki and Enzo out, so okay. Oblivion not dead yet in our first map, but 73% to 0. Long way to go to bring this one back.
But very doable. I mean, they kept some ults in the bank here. I mean, that's what looked to be a potentially worst case scenario for Oblivion, getting that Lunar Force, but staying alive, getting the picks really, really crucially. as OG Esports going to make themselves a little bit of damage, make some space. See some of the early damage there. Oh my gosh, Etsu again with the picks on the Hella. The Hella, I mean, just does so much damage on the poke on a long map like this.
Well, also, Jake's had Fate of both worlds up on top of it, so you lose your Luna ult right away. And of course, the healing from Luna to begin with. Now down 3 to 4 members. This is gonna be a very quick retake for OG.
Using the Goddess of Death. Great bubble as well from Snaze, making sure to prevent their Luna Snow Alex going down from the opposing Meteor M, as Oblivion looking to make the recontest forever, swapping over to the Capflation perhaps. It's time. Asudi gonna find Etsu pretty early. That's a lot of damage off the field.
Yeah, I mean, Etsu was the hero last push for OG, so you set the 65, you don't have to worry about the Hella threat. You've vastly opened up the opportunities now for Demon to just go into the back line. Forever. Swap to the Cap right now, making a little bit of space. Demon, Galactic Legend. Working here in the back, still looking for anything. Unable to find it here just yet. Just King run around the pillars. Meanwhile, Galactic Legend on the other end. Doesn't matter though. Sudi snipes Tanuki out of the air. Both teams down the Star-Lord. All on deck right now for Oblivion as they try and stay alive.
Draco here, finishing up that copy kit as well. Both Lokis dropping the copy ult, trying to keep everyone alive on field. Enzo doing a lot of damage here. There's not a lot of cooldowns. Counter to keep the pressure here on Draco. Draco backing up. Can he pick up? There's so much damage to the region domain as well. Oh my gosh, Enzo is so sad here in this fight, but there's no touch. There's no touch. Everyone forced off the point.
That was decisive. And to me, when you look at things that went into it, more than anything else, Etsu and Enzo just... You have the Venom causing so many issues from Enzo, and then Etsu just fight after fight, ending fights before they begin with pickoffs on the supports. I mean, you think about one of the last fights before the end there, Vest, where you get the pick onto Luna, who had ult ready to go. I mean, you've just completely demolished what Oblivion was going for.
And on top of that too, because of that recontest that happened, that late recontest after the swap, they had Forever stuck on Captain America, which it's unfortunate for a last fight, because it's not that Captain America is a bad hero by any means. It's just not, he's just not currently optimal. The comp wasn't built around playing with Captain America, and he doesn't do a lot of damage. He's kind of just like, hey, this guy bothering, bro? Of heroes, he's just running up in your face. He's hitting you. Your strategy's like, oh my god, get this guy out of here. So overall, just they didn't have the utility they needed for that last fight. And sure, they were able to trade ults, but I mean, OG Esports continuing to look very, very strong.
Bucket, you're back. What do you like as we were looking at all that? It was a lot of venom from behind, is what we saw there. Oh, you're muted.
Puckett stunned into silence. Puckett stunned into silence. The play was so good that he can't even speak. He says, "Wow, they were so good at what they're doing." You know what? I respect that, Puckett. I totally respect that. He says that he's speechless, totally speechless at the gameplay. And CPE, I mean, honestly, there's the reason that OG they took some maps on Virtus.pro, and hopefully this week as well, maybe looking to do the same.
We hear you. You're back. We can bring you back in. Although, honestly, I was down for the miming. Like, I was sort of getting what you were saying.
Hey, Ribco XLR, if somebody wants to create some software and make this work, that'd be great. Sorry about that, family. So we just saw a little bit of obliteration. Sue's pretty good on the Hella. So if you protect Hella, watch your face. On the other side of things, what was going wrong? Because we've got a deep roster of Vast. Is there one area, the strategist, the vanguards, the duelist, anything that you want to see maybe switched up for Oblivion going into map 2? It's their pick now.
I think realistically, if they're going to look to mirror some of the comps that OG was playing, which, you know, we talked about earlier, how we're probably going to see very similar compositions across the board, which, I mean, the majority of that map we saw Venom, Magneto, right? Very similar duelist with the Hella, it's very similar backline with the strategist as well. I think if you're going to look to mirror the compositions, you need to play it better, right? You can't be losing the battles. You need to be getting a lot of value from the Venom dives as well, coming in with the Venom swing and the Frenzied Arrival. And they just weren't. You know, Enzo, like ZP talked about a lot during that map, was just constantly out pressuring them, constantly getting some picks, forcing ults on his own, and you can't be having that happen if you're going to be mirroring those comps. So maybe making a swap comp wise. I don't necessarily know if there's like a roster change really, but really just need to get more value if you're going to be looking to mirror.
ZP, we saw with the Luna, he dives in, Luna freezes him, and still he's able to get shield to escape. How do you stop the survivability of Enzo? Because if not, he's going to be a problem every single map.
Honestly, it's a hard question that I'm not sure there's an absolute answer to. I think the problem is when trying to deal with Venom and why Venom is so good right now is the fact that if you're playing with a full pro team behind you, right? The resources you need to dedicate to actually kill the Venom through Venom shielding and self-survivability is so much that you're going to die to the rest of the team, right? You can't just ignore players like Etsu to focus on Enzo while Enzo is diving. So it's a very, very tough question to how to effectively deal with the Venom, because you might be able to deal with the Venom, but you're going to lose to the rest of the team in turn. It's kind of just trying to stay alive long enough and hope that you're able to do damage to the rest of the team in turn, and then turn your attention back to the Venom.
The Lokis, will they continue to help their team, or will they be bullied? You saw them get pushed off the point on the second stage as OG takes map number 1, but this is a best of 5. We now go to Oblivion's pick. ZP, is there a weakness that you've seen from OG that we can exploit? Is there a ideal map or mode? Do you want to maybe have open space and take to the sky, or do you want like a narrow tunnel like Midtown and just push through as a squad?
You know, it's kind of difficult to say in this regard. I mean, I think back to MRI, there was a lot of just mirrored compositions where if you tick to the sky, like they could also play a storm, right? So it's not like they're limited to just running hella compositions. You know, as much as I hate to say it, you know, part of the path to victory may just be, hey, play what they're playing, but play it better. You know, that was the VP method at times, but it's still not an easy solution. Be like, just play better.
Okay. All right. So we'll see what comps roll out here. Avast, any thoughts before Oblivion makes their choice? With such a deep roster, I'm sure the coaches are having a tough time deciding who gets to play and where they should be playing.
I mean, they should just listen to ZP's pep talk, the Z pep talk there. Just be like, guys, just play better. Just play better, everyone. Like, if we just play better, like, it'll all be okay there. Realistically, I would love to see them maybe, if they're not going to be comfortable, like, mirroring the Venom, if they still want to play it a lot, maybe spend a little bit more energy potentially trying to remove Tanuki, right? On the Star-Lord. Star-Lord likely still going to get played. Even if you're on Neutral Path, which is the next map pick, it looks like, for Oblivion. It's still a map where Star-Lord can get a lot of play. There's a lot of maneuverability for them. But I wouldn't be surprised potentially to just see more Winter Soldier. And if there's one potential hero that can kind of counter some of the value that Venom gets, it is Winter Soldier, is Bucky with the bionic hook, does a lot of damage, you know, have the Kraken impact to allow for the executes off the culling effect. But I mean, like ZB was saying, Venom is just really, really hard to control. It's a very, very hard hero to keep under control.
It's crazy because every time I get a Venom in my games, I'm just furious. I'm like, this is an insta throw. We're not taking the point. He's just going to go too deep. We're not going to get any heals on him. He's out here. The pro level, it is something different, and they are escaping with just slivers of health. We are waiting on Exo's map picks as our producer. As soon as that one comes in, it looks like we do have it. So we're going to the path. Lots of airspace here, ZP. Talk me through expectations as game 2 is loading in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of space, but also the initial chokes are a real pain. So it's like you can run something like a Storm or a Torch if someone actually wanted to run in and play her. You know, that's kind of, you know, is that going to be an option? But I kind of, going back to what Vass was saying, I think it's way more likely that you do see Bucky come out into play here. Also, just a quick note on the Venom thing you're knowing here. I don't even remember which streamer it was, but I think it was Boger retweeted someone just having an absolute meltdown over having EU Venoms in their games. Just, you know, an EU player going to NA just going like, no, I don't want to play against this Venom ever. Like, this is just ruining my life.
Okay, so OG says we're not playing Adam Warlock. You are not getting the free cocoon on your Star-Lord, and we're not playing against the Star-Lord Mantis combo. So what does Oblivion do? Is there a target ban here?
Could ban Venom.
Venom?
Could ban Venom.
Nope.
The ban on Loki is an interesting one too. You know, the more I think about it as well, banning Adam Warlock is not just a comfort ban, but also Warlock is actually pretty good at, especially at the high levels, surviving dives, simply because of the ability for him to disperse the damage and disperse that heals when there's a lot of, especially like a Venom diving onto. So reason OG Esports, I think, going for this ban a lot is because they want to empower Venom, right? They want the ability to play more Venom because of, like, you don't have the live stream, you don't have the soul bond. So actually, that's a really, really smart ban. The more I think about it here is Oblivion, they protected Namor. So they're like, no more diving. We're done with this diving. we're gonna play Namor. Okay, just get ready.
Says, if you want to hang back, we're going to pull your tanks closer. Winter Soldier is in the game. One of the most, I guess, valuable abilities we've seen is when you can isolate your opponent. Will we see Groots on the map? Will it be all shields? We've seen a lot of Magneto through our first 2 weeks of Vast ZP, though. Let's talk about the duelist, because we've gotten Namor We've got Winter Soldier, no Hela this time around. So what else do you expect on the map?
Well, I'll say this, is that this may not be the most ideal game for Venom coming in here, just because of you're going to have to deal with the Namor, who's still going to be more effective at doing high damage to people diving into the backline. The interesting thing to me, though, as I look at this composition, is that the protective Winter Soldier going in here is that, yes, teams still might want to run Winter Soldier, but you're not going to see some of the ridiculous value that we saw last week, where every Winter Soldier game was also versus a Loki, right? Where you're still going to see Kraken Impact resets, but not to the extent that you would if a Loki was in the game. So inherently, the lack of Loki does reduce the Winter Soldier value just a little bit.
Here we go. Game number 2 is loading up on your mic. We have ZP and the wonderful Avast. Gentlemen, take it away.
So Vast, I'm curious on the comps we're going to see here going in, especially if it's opened up with Venom, because, you know, okay, Venom can live through a lot, but still you dive to the back and the boar's there, and all the spawn are just immediately attacking you. You know, it's at least a little bit more pressure on the Venom than what we saw in the last map.
Especially because Luna Snow is not banned. Luna Snow is not banned, so you could get that team up as well for the Frozen spawn. You have to deal with the extra icy monster spawn that are slowing you, that do more damage, that have more health. So there's a chance that we probably won't see Venom, and I wouldn't be surprised. Well, but I say that Europe, they love Venom. Now, we shouldn't trust the spawns. We shouldn't trust the spawns just yet. But I think if this is the comp they are going to roll out, we've seen OG play a lot of Wolverine with Tanuki on Wolverine here. And this comp will make a lot of sense. I mean, you have Storm able to give that AoE, giving that aura of thunder and the aura of tornado just to empower everyone, giving the speed boost, giving the damage. I think this makes a lot of sense. Same thing for Oblivion, where the thing on this map, the Yancey Street charge, you can get a lot of value.
Alrighty, seeing more pressure put on the Venom than we saw at all in the last map. But I do like the Etsu onto the Storm. I mean, you don't have to worry about the Hela acting as a soft counter onto the Storm as a flyer. And within hero pool wise, I mean, just makes sense to me as Enzo blown up. Again, we didn't see this last map.
No, we did not. And I think that's one of the, like I talked about, one of the few heroes that can. And Jake's is flying off of that. Gonna get the Feral Leaf. I cannot believe that Jake's has lived there. Great peel for Oblivione. And that's kind of the value here as well from the Thing, Magneto. You can give the Embattled Leap. You can give the damage reduction. You can give bubbles as well if someone is captured. Even when all the Wolverines, Tanuki, they see that and they're like, no, it's Star-Lord time. We're just gonna go Star-Lord. I'm not even gonna bother to put Wolverine into this. Also, should be given a lot of pressure here though from Nocta's Namor.
That felt like a cinema leap that just kind of stalled midair for a while there too. But yeah, the quick swap off, didn't really like where that was at. But Enzo will take down Forever in the Venom versus Thing matchup. But this is interesting. It's already a bit of a slower pace than what we saw in our domination map.
Oh my gosh, the find there on Etsu so big. He was looking for the peaks there from the higher ground. The Meteor, not gonna find anyone yet, as there goes the support ult. Use and the Hornet Proteus. If you want to talk about something that can burst through as well, Hornet Proteus as well always is another reason that Namor is such a strong hero in these comps, especially when you're playing maybe slightly slower. You're forcing those strategist ults. Luna Snow, okay, there's the Fate of the Worlds, but Hornet Proteus, stay too close, and Giganto is just gonna flop on top of you.
Yeah, also we didn't talk about, but just also the substitutions coming in from Oblivion too, where they got Passu in the game on top of it, where they definitely are all about roster versatility here. But again, Enzo getting isolated in the back. Deep
I am
to the Winter Soldier.
Upset if I'm Etsu. Or Enzo. They sold ulted Enzo there with the Clobber in time. Gonna be forcing another ult there. Everyone backing up. As there goes the Hornet Proteus. Doesn't find anyone. Great. Absolutely great. Blessing to the deep. Keeping Nocta alive. As will we get it? Will we get the resets? The answer is no. It's not looking like we will be.
It's not a reset-friendly game right now. I mean, again, without the Loki close, you're not going to be seeing quite as many agains. But Demon has still been super, super effective on the Winter Soldier in the back. Going again for another bionic arm. Meanwhile, looking over here Forever on the Thing. A little bit of fisticuffs into the front line as Oblivion continues to control space. And, you know, Vest, we're starting to look at the possibility of first point hold. A minute 13 left to go here on the first point.
Very possible, and this Oblivion comp is actually amazing. I mean, they're doing such a good job at mitigating the value from the Venom, from the Star-Lord, giving constant damage reduction, keeping pressure on the backline. They have the bubbles, they have the Namor with the Luna passive, they have Bucky just constantly looking for hooks. As they're gonna force the invisible boundary pretty early from Kin, and they're just gonna say like, okay, time to leave. We'll use some cooldowns. They have to make sure that no one gets caught by the pool. They don't, but in return, have to pop a Luna ult of their own.
Yeah, Andre immediately coming out with Fate of Both Worlds and turn forever, though, into the back line, actually creating a whole lot of pressure. The Horn comes out, just sidestepped. Meanwhile, Meteor M from Stays gonna take down Andre, and that is exactly what OG Esports needed to clear the way.
That swap to the Thing, I mean, I think it just, we talked about it earlier, it's not like Venom's impossible, but Thing I feel like is a lot better pick on, at least on these first 2 points, even I would say even the whole map of Yggdrasil Path. It's very narrow. You're getting constant cleave damage from the stone haymakers. You're able to get that damage reduction. You can chase down any player that you need. Clobbering time is on there as everyone coming through the Strange Portal Hill. Gonna drop the Invisible Woman ult here as well. Can they find a pick?
Yeah, I mean, drop the boundary out of the portal. If nothing else, is gonna force OG completely off the payload, but they have to come immediately back in, and they don't! They back off too far!
Oh no, they tried to back up and go for the Galactic Legend, and I mean the Charlie Niner, we can't let it die. The Charlie Niner, it's here. C9, you're not even in this game, but honestly, your legend, I mean, it's here. The status is here. I can't believe it. What a recontest from Oblivion.
That was organic and certified, by the way.
Whoops.
Like, I mean, look, it's understandable, right? The boundary comes out. You don't want to fight people inside boundary because clearly you're going to lose, but it has to be dedicated to someone to go over and get on the convoy, as it were. You can't just sit there and be like, it's actually fine.
And you see here, there's the recontest. I mean, they come out with the crack at Impact. There's the boundary you're talking about, ZP, and everyone is like, okay, we gotta leave. We gotta get out of here. Get out of here, guys. And they're gonna pop the Galactic Legend shortly after, and they were just hoping they'd be able to get the touch in time. I mean, they just couldn't. They couldn't make it back in time. And I mean, it's one of those situations where, okay, you might just have to commit to sacrificing a Vanguard potentially to keep the contest when the time is so low. I just think they thought they could make it back. They were just like, oh, we can make it back. Maybe if you had the Storm, have that aura of Tornado, get the speed boost, but you know, they were not fast enough.
Get a little bit mystery heroes right now. Can't imagine. I mean, aside from maybe the opening shot, don't think the Widow is going to be a thing, but I liked what they showed at the beginning here. They potentially just go for the shield busting with Rocket Punisher, but no, okay. Widow's actually coming on out, at least for the opening shot. We'll see what the full comp is here for Oblivion, but they have 4 minutes here, Vast, and they don't have to bring this very far.
No, I mean, they know their win condition. They're staying on a really, really strong comp that worked for them on the defense here. Is OG, they said, okay, guys, we are not going to be playing the Venom. We're going to play a little strange, little double shield. Keep everyone alive. Look at the pressure here. Is when they're playing into the double shield, I mean, Oblivion, they have to be careful because of all the poke. There's going to be a lot of poke. They don't have as many barriers. They're going to have to be looking for forever to maybe make some space.
I think the scary part here for OG is that they essentially have to be perfect, right? Like one pickoff and it could be over before ultimate comes to play.
Oh, the bionic hook!
Oh, hooks Enzo in a vest, sets them up. Now 6 versus 5. And again, if you're OG, you can't really leave the point right now. You have to stay on here. You have very little to give. In Oblivion right now.
It is a 5v5 with Forever going down, getting frozen by the cryo heart there. Or
quick boundary.
Or the absolute zero. Boundary coming on up. They're going to try to walk it force. That Luna Soul. Great, because now, however, unfortunately for them, PassiW does not have the Meteorium just yet to just burst through the strategist ult. So Oblivion going to have to fight here for a little bit. Look for the clobbering time after. Maybe find some kills.
They need to get elimination before Andre gets Luna ult. It's really close, but okay, Luna ult is up. Here comes Meteor M. Over, hits the pillar, but Fate of Both Worlds now up for Oblivion. They lose Demon though. Ken able to get a massive pickoff. Out goes the Horn. Horn does not connect.
Oh,
and OG
great
Esports
blocks there as well. The blocks very, very good, keeping everyone up. But OG looking for the eye boggle. The push so good from Jakes, keeps everyone up. No one gets stunned. But OG still finding some picks as Oblivion. They're stalling here a bit, ZP. They just can't find. They can't get the momentum. They just aren't able to find enough value from the ults currently. They're gonna need to back, and they might get staggered.
They're full resetting. They're trying to avoid the stagger, trying to get back up to 6. They've burned about half the time off the clock now, so this could be the full hold meet fuller hold. Oblivion is not careful.
A little bit of flank fighting there for OG Esports. Oblivion coming forward, trying to find any limb, just need to get something to happen. That's Forever making some space, getting poked, getting a lot of poke here. Is Tanuki. They need to remove Tanuki. They need to get him off the angle.
Tanuki burning the Galactic Legend, looking for anything right now, but just getting denied by the boundary in turn. That's 3 down for OG Esports. And Oblivion, what a response this would be. Moving the convoy forward, and this Avast is an immediate response. The series now tied 1-1.
And I mean, we asked what maybe there was a roster swap, maybe there was something that could happen. We don't know how deep this roster would go, and it looks pretty deep off that map. I'm bringing in PassiW, bringing it in Nox. There's pretty much playing the Namor, playing the Magneto, just completely nullifying the value of Venom for Enzo. And also that thing comp, the way they played it, just making space, building ults, winning a lot of the flank fights like early. It was beautiful. It was so well played. And the Winter Soldier, I think, crucial into that. The Winter Soldier, absolutely so important there for Demon, just getting constant finds at the Bionic Hook.
Yeah, I mean, look, if nothing else, they made adjustments from the first map. They decide, okay, domination versus the Venom. This did not go well for us. We're going to shift up the course of battle. We're going to bring it to a convoy map, and we're going to run a composition that, you know, will give us way better power at stopping Enzo's dives. And also, you think about it too, the Hela wasn't available for Etsu. I mean, they took away the strengths of OG Esports from the first map, and they did in a way that looked really good as the long ride.
The Wolverine, I mean, but you see there the bubble, the force physics as well, like after the Pharaoh Leap ends, and they're just even, you know, just finding picks, finding some value from the Trooper's Fist. Yeah, I get one Horde of Proteus. Honestly, really not a lot of ult Namor value during this map outside of that moment. Really just a lot more value from just controlling the flanks, putting a lot of damage. And this is just the pivotal moment here, right? Is the recontest.
There's a good chance that like more whales actually passed away than players they knocked out. Like the whales were taking more punishment of the two, but hey, sometimes it just works out there. But oh man, the highlight there, just an absolutely brutal ending to that attack for OG Esports.
And a great, I think also just as importantly as highlighting some of those like great picks from Demon was the strategist. I mean, getting a lot more value there. Jake's in particular on the Invisible Woman, staying alive, just making sure to mitigate a lot of the other ult value that was coming out from OG Esports.
Invisible people were pretty terrifying. You saw some eyes just getting dismantled. You saw OG being scared of the cart. That's going to be the thing that haunts them, though. Let's talk about it, ZP, because we have seen esports teams become mentally boomed in the past. Is OG going to be able to bounce back after failing on their attack? They thought they had checkpoint 1 all but locked in.
Look, I think OG has already proven that they're an experienced enough team that this shouldn't set them back too much. But, you know, and the fact that they won the first map is something that they can rely on. But it never feels good when you're a team, regardless of how good you are, they get held on first point, especially in that sort of nature where it was still a very winnable fight and you just don't have anyone touch the point. I mean, it hurts mentally, but look, I think OG does have a pretty good coaching staff from what I understand. If anything, they're the ones to step in and be like, okay, guys, last map is over, doesn't matter, win the next two. I think OG will definitely bounce back.
Shout out to Bayman. He is in the chat, one of our OGs from the Overwatch days, watching Rivals Fight Night. His team OG is coming to play, and they get to choose the next map. Avast. First, though, can we give a shout to Passy Woe? How do we say his name, chat? Let us know. Passy Woe, though, coming in, goes on to the Magneto, and the bubbles honestly seem to be the difference maker on defense.
I mean, a huge amount of value there. And I think also just constantly following up off of some of the displacement that was coming from the Bionic Hook from Demon was using your right click, that mag cannon, to also displace a tank further that gets caught. And also just when you build up a lot of extra charge as well, using your iron and metal bulwarks, the bubbles, just it does a lot of damage. And I think that Magneto pick was crucial in continuing to make sure that they got value, that they lived through some of the opposing Meteor Ims. They had the bubbles they needed for the fight for the flanks as well to remove Tanuki. So the Magneto pick worked for them beautifully on that map.
ZP, can you bubble Tanuki and let him just abduct people through the sky? Hold that thought. We have our pre-hero select. The pick and bans begin right now. So far, we've seen Adam Warlock as the first ban for OG every time. EX Oblivion is on the right side. They will be choosing first.
Yeah, and this is, they're choosing first simply because they had side choice before in the first two maps, but because things have swapped up now, it's EX Oblivion up first, and they get rid of the Groots here.
Did that last map.
Yep. It's interesting, but
must not like Groot at all here. I mean, they must have a particular reason. Maybe it just, I mean, depending on like what they're going to end up going. I mean, Groot is a very popular pick, and once again, OG says we do not want Adam Warlock entering the arena here at all. We do not want to have the ability to spread that damage around if we want to play any sort of dive comps.
They did protect Loki, though, and this was the second ban by Oblivion last map. So I like that protect coming in from OG Esports staff. On the other side, we saw it was a Hela and Adam for OG Esports. Their last ban will be coming through after the Namor. And Namor being protected, Who is that trying to hard counter? Is it Spider-Man? Is it Black Panther? At the pro level, what are they trying to shut down?
I think they're trying to really create problems for the Venom and to a lesser degree the Star-Lord, right? It's just the fact that Namor is very anti-dive. And also, it's kind of interesting because OG, they would like to run these things. It's a big strength of theirs, but they're clearly terrified of the Adam Warlock play of Oblivion. We don't know the full story. We might have to dig for that after the fact, but the bottom line is they don't want to deal with an Adam Warlock ever, and they're okay with the Namor being in play.
They're not going to let Etsu play that Hela, though. Removed, and with the Namor protected, they say, okay, but you're not getting the cool squid. You are playing without a Luna Sky. Best of luck. I say OG won this ban and protect, but it's a little early to say. Avast, what are you liking here?
For OG, I think the worst case scenario is you lose the ability to be able to play the comp that you want, as an option is the Venom. And with Luna Snow being banned, that means that Namor's effectiveness as an anti-dive into both the Star-Lord, into a Spider-Man, into the Venom is definitely lessened. It's lessened a lot because you just get so much extra value from the frozen spawn, from that extra monster spawn that it slows, it does more damage, it has more health. It makes him such a threat, and especially when you can able to contest the flank even more effectively. So I think, like you said, Puckett, OG Esports removing Luna Snow gives them a lot more option to run Enzo once again on the Venom.
Here we go, game 3. It's the swing game in our best of 5. OG Esports, EX Oblivion, fighting for a chance to take on Virtus.pro for $1,000. This is Rivals Fight Night. ZP, take it away.
All right, Vass, we're getting into it. So one thing that strikes out to me, OG saying, we're going right back to domination. We don't want to deal with your roster depth on, Convergence nor Convoy. And we just want to brawl it out. It worked well for us on map number 1, Hell's Heaven, map number 2. Where Enzo gets a Flex of Venom, and even though Namor's in play, getting rid of the Luna does lessen his value. And of course,
domination merchants, they're not playing. Domination merchants here, and they're also going to be pop very early portal onto the high ground, but found off the Sonic Vortex, off the damage there from the Institute charge from Forever once again on the Thing. And I like that they continue to play the Thing here. Just not only is the Thing good, but also into OG Esports in particular because it gives you a lot of that damage mitigation, a lot of extra pressure, a lot of extra aggression, especially with the first fight here on domination. As right now we're just looking to clean up here on the point. It looks like they're going to do it.
Demon, nice pickoffs towards the end on Storm, and also some nice roster versatility here where you think back to the last map, it was Demon on the Winter Soldier, and now Nocta taking up the mantle going, oh, you got better Storm? That's fine. I'll play a little bit of Bucky in your stead.
And I think playing the Storm here with the Thing, with the Magneto, with the Winter Soldier means that they're going to be playing very deathball-y. They're going to be looking to try to just take the aggression, run past the Venom, find some of the squishier picks for OG Esports using the aura from the Storm. And you can play these off angles so effectively because you're using both a Winter Soldier and a Storm. You have multiple threats.
Nocta right now, here in the back line. Oblivion already a big difference here from the first time around. First control onto the point. Boundary, though, going to be used here early over by OG Esports. Ken, of course, cloning it with the Loki. And Oblivion right now, Vast, they're just backing out and dropping a boundary of their own. Really nice disengage into the re-engage.
However, Etsu found off the Mad Cannon yet again. The clobbering time, not going to find anyone just yet. As OG Esports, though, there's just so much damage on the field of Oblivion. They're going to drop the Kraken Impact as well. And the trades are going so strong for Oblivion, which, to be fair, should be expected after winning the first fight here on Domination. They got the very early force of the Loki, the God of Mischief, get the Invisible Boundary. They were able to force another one, using that Omega Storm and or Omega Hurricane, I should say, for Demon. And now they're just in complete control, and we're looking at a last fight situation for OG Esports.
And Oblivion kind of pushing far forward here. I mean, I think, okay, they just drop Invisible Boundary, and they're just buying time far away from the point, pushing OG Esports back once more. OG Esports, though, tools to use as they come back on in here, Best. Likely, you got to look towards Tanuki, right? Early opening Galactic Legend here, maybe even enabled by the Aya Agamotto. But OG Esports are just getting pummeled in the poke right now. The neutral has been brutal.
And you see the immediate pop from Pasuo as well, with using the immediate rem to actually deny a lot of the value from Tanuki because there's no strategy till it's alive, and finds it a limb, keeping the pressure onto the flank on Tanuki, and Tanuki just having the worst day of his life.
This is dominant. This was incredibly dominant. And I mean, think about the first fight and how it began. I mean, Forever just charges on the Thing, sets up first pick, and what a difference 2 maps make, even within the same game mode.
100%. And I think, we have to give a lot of credit once again to just this adjustment for Oblivion and also the sub for Pasu coming in here, playing the Magneto, because in that last fight, that was pretty much OG's chance right there. Having the Galactic Legend, getting to play that wide flank angle, knowing there's no strategy ult, knowing the regeneration domain has been used, and popping the Meteor M immediately, you absorb all that projectile damage. You absorb all that damage, and you empower the actual ult for Magneto and get to find an Olymp.
Something bothering you?
All right, so OG Esports, you know, they come in here, they take away map 1, they have a rough go on map 2 on their attack, and now very quickly could find themselves down facing match point, depending on how this next round on Hell's Heaven goes. See if there's any change-ups here, but so far I've really liked the versatility of this Oblivion roster, responding to what worked from OG Esports.
And OG Esports, once again, using Snay is going to drop the portal entry again on this first fight. They don't want to chance it. They want to walk on in. They want to save for the recontest. They're like, we want the better position right away. Taking the Mega, taking the flank. They get here to the point very, very quick.
Also, if you're Snays, I think part of the reason why you do this too is give yourself a better option for an Eye of Agamotto setup, right? Usually a little bit easier setup on the defense when you can hide behind a wall, go in for something sneaky, but instead, clobbering time out. Gonna be answered here. OG Esports dropping the visible boundary. Oblivion though, got a mischief about ready to go. Gonna be Andre KO coming on in.
Oh, the force physics again from Jakes. I mean, just the push just denies all value, ZP.
Yeah, enemy with the first pick. Oblivion feel pretty good here, and here come the Agains. Of course,
they gotta get one.
A little bit by the Loki clone. Needs to get another reset here. It doesn't get it, but might not even be necessary to win the fight.
Oblivion still pretty healthy on the point. Have the pick. Gonna be finding one. Should be able to find Snake soon, and they do. And I mean, Oblivion playing this so expertly. Again, this comp is just giving OG Esports so much trouble with the double shield. If you're playing the Magneto plus the Doctor Strange, you're doing a lot of poke, but what do you do when your backline's getting constantly disrupted? You have to worry about like the early clobbering time build, because you build clobbering time so fast for forever. Just keeping that constant pressure, forcing the strategy ults very, very early in those fights. And they're gonna make the swap. I mean, they're like, okay, we've had enough. Here's the thing, ZP. Times 2.
Here's our thing, specifically. And hey, it works out. They get an immediately pick on the passy on the other side. A little bit of thing, fisticuffs here. Clobbering time out. Match with another clobbering time. It's just, you look at your watch, there's only one time left. Demon though, Omega Hurricane off into the side. Nocta able to take down Snays. And again, off the flank here from Oblivion, they're able to still turn the fight, and Demon is just crushing on the Storm.
And the problem there is that Oblivion, they still had the point control. They had a regeneration domain for Enzo's clobbering time. There was no counter pressure for OG Esports when Enzo tries to drop that in return against Forever. And they were also just had the Omega Hurricane. The Omega Hurricane, I mean, it just guarantees the fight cleanup there. There's just so much damage, so much positioning. It's the boons of winning the first fight of domination. And now they're gonna have to deal with geometry. They're gonna have to deal with rotating geometry, just waiting for the point to change here a little bit, losing a little bit of extra cap time.
Yeah, the map rotating like that actually does sneakily impact a match more than you might expect offhand. But here's Tanuki, Galactic Legend, ready to go. As OG Esports looks for any way back into this map, got a mischief used. Now we just look at Tanuki right now, looking for any opportunity. Meteor M though, being used here by Passy. Takes down Tanuki!
He does it again. Pasu, I mean, just denying the ult value, getting one. Can they find in return for Snays? They don't. And now the trades are so good here for Oblivion. They still have point control. They still have an invisible boundary for Jakes in return if necessary. Plus the clobbering time. Find several. Can they just clean up the damage?
Well, here we go. Galactic Legend coming in for Tanuki a little bit late to the fight, as Nocta though still just finds 2. The overall setup here for Oblivion, far too good. Another Omega Hurricane coming on in, and that is going to clean up OG Esports and put Oblivion up 2-1 in our Challengers match in EU. Unreal adaptations coming in from Oblivion.
And realistically, this map wasn't even that much of an adaptation. They're just playing the comp they started playing on Yggdrasil Path, right? They are just playing a comp that is so good in general into what OG Esports are playing. And I think I have to give a ton of credit as well to Forever on the thing, just keeping so much pressure, along with just the Vanguard line of Oblivion, just both of them, Pazu, Forever, just keeping a lot of pressure, denying the value from Tanuki constantly, and getting picks through the strategy ult.
Whew. And now here's my question here. And again, we don't know some of the full stories on the Scrimbucks. We knew enough from the Scrimbucks that Oblivion was going to be a good team, and that the Scrimbucks have paid off. For once in their life, Vest, they have paid off because we didn't have a lot of official info here. But I do wonder is it worth it to continue banning the Adam Warlock? Like, what is the scary nature behind the Adam Warlock? Because if for OG Esports now you're facing match point, you got to wonder, what do you change up?
Yeah, I mean, it is the question to be asked here of, do we really want to keep permabanning Adam? But I think they're kind of in a catch-22 potentially, where maybe OG is in a situation where we know they like to play a lot of Venom. We know they obviously can play other comps. They can look strong at other comps, but they're trying to force the Venom comp potentially by removing the Adam, or like removing that comfort pick pretty early. But maybe they could be just potentially looking to like remove something else that makes the Oblivion comp pretty strong. Realistically, maybe just the depth of Oblivion is making that there is no particularly great ban currently for OG Esports.
I think with that win, we've seen both teams take a domination. I don't think we're going to see another dom map coming forward from OG Esports. They feel like they messed up on their first opportunity back on the path. Will they be able to bring it back? Before we get to that, though, can we give a shout out to all of our co-streamers? Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Rivals Fight Night. This is just our second broadcast. If you haven't already, hit the follow button, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're applying for partnership, and every follow helps us. We're just there. I think they said we're, what's the mode underneath, partner have asked? Affiliate? I think we're affiliate tonight. How do you feel about that?
Me, I feel amazing. Any blessing we have in this channel, I think it gives a ray of sunshine on my face. You know, so overall, I think getting closer to partner status just gives us the ability to give more amazing content to the people, and to hopefully give more options for free content to co-streamers. Because I know co-streamers, you love free content. So please, so help us out here just a little bit. You know you love free content.
We'll do the production for you. All you got to do is open up another tab, support us over here at Rivals Fight Night. Thank you to all the subscribers. Unnecessary awesomeness coming out of the chat already. We're up over 500 viewers on the Twitch channel. We're also live on Twitter and on YouTube. So wherever you want to watch, drop the follow, drop the subscribe. We're going to a break. When we come back, it's game 4 OG Esports with an opportunity to tie things up. And we are back. Big shout out to the seagull flock that has just landed in our chat. Much love to one of the greatest Faras to ever make me watch Overwatch. Seriously, I was playing Call of Duty until I loaded up a seagull screen, saw what he was doing. I was like, okay, I'm switching games. ZP, Avast, you've been longtime friends of Seagull. Any shout outs to the community? And can you update us with where we're at right now in the tournament, Avast?
Well, I mean, currently we are in going into map number, I guess it'd be 4 now here between Oblivion and OG Esports, and it's looking to be a bit of a banger. We were worried about like, oh, is Oblivion going to have the roster depth that people have talked about that they had? Are they going to be as good as we heard from the Scrimbucks like ZP had talked about? And they've lived up to it. They made some great adjustments, starting a new digital path, and they've won 2 maps in a row now, and they're looking really, really good moving on to the thing and putting basketball onto the Magneto. So overall, I definitely think living up to the hype. As for the community in general, I mean, Seagull, I still think about it every day. The Overwatch League, walking in after as the Dallas fuel was exploding, walking into the break room and you saying, I just work here, man, and then walking away. One of the greatest moments in my esports career.
ZP, let's talk a little bit about our rival show. There's a lot of new viewers. Let's break it down. If they missed last week, Virtus.pro were our champions from EU. How do these teams compare to what you saw from week 1?
I mean, how do they compare to what we saw from week 1? Is I think both of these teams to be very competitive with Virtus.pro into our money matches coming up after, right? Because OG Esports, they took Virtus.pro to the limit where they took 2 maps off them in the BO7, the Marvel Rivals Invitational, and then the maps they lost weren't necessarily blowouts or anything. So the fact that Oblivion has taken this level of fight to OG Esports means that whichever of these 2 teams gets through the fight Virtus.pro means we're in for a good game. Also, you know, to the Seagull community, nothing but love, just one of the best communities out there that I still hang out on a regular basis, where it doesn't matter what's going on. I'll be like, hey, what's happening here? But much love.
And our producer just told me we went up at least 200 followers just now. So for everyone who just hit that follow button over on Twitter from Seagull's chat, thank you very much. Shout out to everyone else who is co-streaming. A reminder, free co-streaming. We want you to share the show. Rivals Fight Night is coming at you every Thursday. If you want to get involved on the action, hit up hexagrams in the chat at TempoZP on Twitter. Or you can follow Avast home if you really want to. Avast, we're going into Burn T'Challa. Let's talk a little bit about what we expect to see from our squads, because the Ban and Protects have featured an Adam Warlock as the first ban. All 3 of our first maps. You're running out of time if you're OG.
I mean, I think OG in general, it's very interesting because, like, okay, banning a lot of Adam Warlock, but also they're taking us to another domination map.
I didn't think we were doing it.
They were going to another domination with Burn T'Challa. So, I mean, overall, like, OG, they have to have a plan. And the plan is we're going to keep taking domination and something's going to work at some point. And really, we'll just have to see what is the first ban, right? What are the bans going to be? Are they going to remove the Adam Warlock? Of course.
3 in a row. No Groots for you. All right. On the other side.
Do they remove the Adam Warlock?
Esports. Get rid of Adam Warlock. I dare you.
We'll see. Honestly, yeah, I mean, they get rid of the Warlock again. They decide no Warlock whatsoever. Was the protecting command they've been protecting Loki before? The one thing I would like to see them ban, and we were talking about this off broadcast, but get rid of Magneto. Passing low has been your demon more than anything else, even more than the player named Demon. Like, just get rid of the Magneto, because that has been such a huge thorn in their sides. But right now, it's looking like more of the same.
What if you remove Clobber in time of Vast? Could you equally get, I guess, as much value getting rid of the Thing and forever having to play a different tank?
I think that's a very interesting option too, as the Namor gets protected, which, you know, to be expected, probably a lot of Namor Winter Soldier. I think the Thing could be a very interesting thing to remove, because you get forever off that Thing. You get a lot, you could remove a lot of the value and the pressure, and okay, that's what they're going to do. So one of the 2 options probably was one of the better options. I think ZP talked about the Magneto, so I think that's one of the best cases they could have done to maybe change up how is Oblivion going to play.
I wish I could take credit for the Thing ban. That was all the chat. And if you're just catching up, we're playing a best of 5. Winner of this moves on into our money match against Virtus.pro. OG Esports came out hot. They took Royal Palace 2 straight stages. Then they looked like they're going to take the first checkpoint. A C9 has led to back-to-back Oblivione victories. And now they could close it out with the Burn T'Challa W. ZP, Avast, the mic is yours.
All right, so they've taken out one of the 2 tanks. We were thinking more than Magneto. They decided to go to Thing. Either way, it's going to force Oblivion to go for a different look here, Avast. But The downside here is that they've let the Luna through, which means that Nocta gets to play the Namor and also have it be a very scary Namor backed up by the team up with Luna. So either way, I'm not sure we see a Venom here. Doesn't seem as likely.
Importantly, Puckett keeps on saying Ex Oblivione as a joke, and now it's going to ruin the cast. He keeps saying it, and I'm going to say it, and it's just, we have to stop him.
Oblivione!
We have to stop him. He's super villain posting. He's just super villain posting.
He actually is, and we go in there, it's like, oh, it's Ex Oblivion. And we make our best efforts there, but Puckett is just this agent of chaos that's just continually just throwing in every little monkey wrench into the spanner. But either way, Ex Oblivion out here, and yeah, take a look at the compositions here. It's going to be a Magneto Strange setup, so a more historic EU setup.
Wolverine for Tanuki as well, which is something we've seen from OG a lot. Oh, Tanuki getting bubbled, taking forever off the map with the Pharaoh Leap. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see if you're OG, getting the early pick, getting the first cap here, as well as you're going to look to chase. Even going down, and this is something we've seen from OG a lot. Is we've seen a lot of Venom, we've seen a lot of Tanuki on the Wolverine, and the Wolverine, obviously, if you're not familiar, which I'm sure many people are, he gets banned in almost every ranked game you ever play. If you're at that level, he's just so survivable, and he does damage based off the percentage of the health of the person he's attacking, and also on top of that, he does more damage the more hits he does with the Berserker's Rage. So just a very, very strong hero that scales the longer they're in the fight.
Also interesting in terms of setups here, Mantis coming out from Passwell, where you go from Magneto to Mantis is quite the setup here. Where
I think you put a lot of extra damage on the field here. You get some damage boost as well, along with the sleep or slumber to potentially punish. Oh my, Etsu.
Yeah, the magic goes in and immediately just gets plunked by Etsu here on the Winter Soldier. Laying down plenty of damage.
I mean, that's just
from
maturing. It's just the magic's gone, you know. The magic's gone. That's just getting older. As they say, much like for Ex Oblivion, the magic is gone there. As OG Esports just continue to take space, looking to poke out Demon. Demon gets out very, very narrowly there, using the invis there for the Psylocke. As OG Esports about to have 6 ults here, and it's same for Ex Oblivion. It's going to be a very stacked ult fight.
Oblivion going on in, Dance of the Butterfly out early. Enzo, though, was able to take down Magic again. Magic goes in and just immediately gets focus fired. Meteor M out from Enzo, takes down the Mantis. And again, even with the late Meteor M coming out, okay, they get Etsu off of it. Point still firmly in control by OG. Ex Oblivion still looking for anything to go in. Fate of Both Worlds gonna be coming in. We'll see as right now you see Forever just getting pummeled on all ends, cannot stand the point, and this is looking like a very dominant round for OG.
I mean, they're just trying to stay alive here. They do have the dark hole, or rather, the dark.
The 3 Lokis.
What? No way. There's just so much to stay here on the point. You see the 3 Lokis just pounding on the point. There's going to be the Ivagamoto, a solo Ivagamoto on the passive wall, taking down the Mantis. And I mean, there's still anyone's fight potentially turn, but I think with the Kraken impact, I think that should probably stop it now. They're getting the resets. They have the portal to come back and touch from Forever, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. And Ex Oblivion just struggling. I think their comp was also really, really interesting. ZP. This is a very interesting comp for them to be playing. I mean, and even with the Dark Child just popped there at the end, just completely mitigated.
Can I chime in real quickly here, gentlemen? We have official word from Kevix, who I have not done any background checking, but he claims to be the owner of Ex Oblivione and confirms that I say it correctly. I've asked. Go ahead, say Oblivione.
It's Ex Oblivione?
It's Latin, my friend. Enjoy.
Okay, so I was right the entire time.
My guy
okay.
I was right the entire time.
He was right. Okay.
This is unbelievable. Okay.
I mean, wait. You know what? Actually, you know what? ZP was wrong. Let's gaslight him. Everyone.
No.
I can't believe Avast said it right, and ZP's like, absolutely not.
I'm the gaslight bit. That's what it's all about.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask Avast is that, into the last round, they go in with the solo tank, and they're still going in with the solo tank.
Well, I think it's a really... It's a very interesting... It's cerebral. It's a cerebral idea, and the reason why it's cerebral is because, like I was talking about, Wolverine does damage based off the amount of the target's health pool, and it scales. And Wolverine's kind of just the definition of a Vanguard buster. And I think you're like, okay, we're gonna play multiple DPS is typically the answer, because you're gonna be taking less damage and you have more options to shut down the Wolverine, right? You're not a big bulky body that's having to worry about getting caught with a Feral Leap. You're gonna have a lot more options to remove the Wolverine, as the aggression here from OG on top of the backline from Oblivione.
It's a shield, but you just walk forward into the enemy team the entire way through. You create room for Etsu to get the first pick. OG Esports looking pretty good here off the rip. God of Mischief, Meteor M, perhaps to seal the deal as Ken does a little bit of dancing. OG Esports, again, really strong start where, by the way, out of domination maps out of this here. We've just gone through the gambit of domination maps, though. It would be Oblivione's pick here after the fact. Anyways, this Enzo even grabs the Mantis for the stagger. Unreal.
Oh, the leap. Oh, the leap too. I mean, just the abduction. And also, Oblivione CEO/owner, if you're still here, could you also confirm, is it Passio? Could you also confirm that for the pronunciation of your player? Could you give that one a bucket there as well? As OG Esports playing very aggressively on the corner. And I mean, and even with the adaptation here for Oblivione, they just have not managed to break it through, you know, running into this Wolverine, as the Omega Hurricane forces the regeneration domain, forces the ult there as well. Not finding anyone.
Yeah, OG Esports just able to withstand. Now looking here at Nocta, drops the horn, gets two with the aid of Demon, and Oblivione, a little bit better opening here, off than the more ultimate. And Nocta right now just landed spear after spear. Nice bit of cleanup.
And that's exactly what you wanted to see. I mean, even more amazing than that is the fact that Demon popped an Omega Hurricane, by the way. I want you to look at their ult charge. We should take a look at that.
Okay.
They have another one. They have another one. They got so much AoE value there from using the Goddess boost, because when you're using the Goddess boost with the Thunder Aura, you're getting AoE damage. You're able to use the Gale Burst, get more AoE damage. There's the Omega Hurricane again from Demon, forcing the region domain, forcing another strategy. This time, Kin having to pop the God of Mischief.
The Goddess is real mad, and it sets up Nocta to just use the Tridents from the side, grab two right away, and yeah, fight immediately over. So Demon setting up Nocta beautifully in these fights, and OG Esports back to the drawing board. However, you take a look at ultimates as they're setting up here. Both teams actually loaded for Bear into the next fight.
A lot of ults on the board here, but still the constant. Also, I think the passive swapping to Mantis is actually what you're just getting, the constant damage boost from the Mantis here, the allied inspiration onto Demon, just letting them get so much pressure there. There's going to be the Feral Leap finding one, but they have bubbles, so no one's going to get it just yet, as the Meteor M used here.
Meteor M used early, answered by Eye of Agamotto into Horn.
Oh, great shield.
Etsu.
Amazing shield from Snaze. No one goes down.
Yeah. Etsu after cracking impact gets Jake's early on. Gives OG Esports the one-person advantage. Now, Fate of Both Worlds right now out. Mantis ultimate fading. Omega Hurricane also done. Now see OG Esports as Tanuki just carving up the back.
Tanuki waiting after the ults. A lot of those strategy ults get exchanged. The region domain is gone. And saying, now it's my time, guys. It's time to feast. I'm praying on you tonight. Play the song. Play the TikTok song. Play it in the background. They were jumping in and getting two with that. Pretty much getting three there with the limbs. Because now Oblivione having to come back in for the recontest. OG Esports holding the corner very aggressively, looking to get some poke. They have the Fate of Both Worlds here for Jake's, but still not a lot in the bank.
I think Jake's has probably got, well, okay, here's the problem. If Jake's pops it down, you've already lost Nocta. Etsu just gets a clean pick off, and you just see the sad disengage here of Ast as everyone just walks back and goes, wait, we're going to wait for 6. We're going to go with Fate of Both Worlds together, but it's going to be answered by Ken with the Loki clone, likely Fate of Both Worlds of their own, but Omega Hurricane in from Demon. Kicking things off here to start the fight. Should force out the Fate of Both Worlds, and does. Ken starts a dancing. Here comes Cracking Impact, though. Alex down early. First pick here, the Oblivione.
And that was an incredibly good engage there for Oblivione, because they use the Omega Hurricane to force the God of Mischief, and then they come in with the Meteor M, knowing those strategies have been used. They have the Hornet Proteus, just extra damage here on the field. They have the boost. They have everything from the Aura as well, as Demon is an unkillable Demon right now, because he has both the Idle Aura and the damage boost from Passio. I mean, Oblivione, that is the perfect recontest you needed there, just to force Ken to drop the ult, or sorry, rather Alex, force him to come back in again, or actually, I guess it was Kin. It's just Fate of Both Worlds either way, and then just pop the Meteor M. You see some last-minute contests actually going to be happening for OG Esports.
All right, Strange Portal in for OG Esports, 99 to 99. Meteor M used here early from Enzo. It's huge. Sets up 2 with Etsu. And just off that, Agamotto gonna be used just to be sure. And you know, it's kind of interesting where right now, all ults on the table, all or nothing for OG Esports. They want to force the final map 5. And Avast, they're gonna do just that here on Burn into T'Challa.
And even with the perfect recontest, what's even more perfect? Teleportation. As still, they're trying to make it through the portal yet again. Oblivione, I mean, they're trying to make it out of the spawn. It's absolute chaos. They are going to have the crack.
Wait, they got one. Hold on.
Nocturne gets one. Is there a chance? I mean, there could be a chance. They could get some more ults here. They're about to have a Meteor M.
Yeah, I mean, the Strange Portal, usually you just get mauled coming out, and it does kind of result that way after, but last-ditch Meteor M, not going to be enough, but still, a little bit of gas left in the tank from the final Strange Portal. OG Esports, though, holding strong, forcing us to a map 5, 2 weeks in a row here, Vast, where EU just goes to the limit in our Challengers match.
We deserve it, boys. We deserve it, Avast. As we take a look at some of the best moments from this one, the chat was asking about some of the player swaps. It looks like OG moving over to the Wolverine. That gave him a little bit of a change. Demon on the Storm, a little bit terrifying. But at the end, OG Esports gets the dub. How'd they do it?
I mean, I think you hit on the points exactly where we talked about the thing being banned. You get Tanuki on the Wolverine. It forces Oblivione to pretty much not be able to play that comfort comp. And also, just because of the Wolverine, the threat of the Wolverine, they're like, okay, we don't want to play double Vanguard. Even if we could play double Vanguard, we don't want to play it. We want to put passive back onto something like the Mantis, maybe to empower Demon. And I feel like they just didn't feel nearly as comfortable. They weren't getting nearly as much value. And it showed. It showed there where Tanuki being on that comfort pick of Wolverine, just providing so much damage, forcing so much. And even with Oblivione, I think having some great moments, it just wasn't enough.
Here's the first sample. Wolverine bowling off the Strange. Now you see Magneto getting in the mix. We mentioned it. Maybe you remove this character for the final map. ZP, it looks like both teams very comfortable with him in the lineup, though.
Yeah, and I think the key change here is that once you got rid of the thing and then you changed up and ran a Wolverine of your own, you put Oblivione into this world where they figure, okay, we're going to run solo tank, triple support, try and mitigate the impact of the Wolverine. But in the end, it gives them a comp with way less control than what they were getting when they're able to run the Magneto thing compositions. And look, I mean, they still showed amazing versatility. They nearly swung the second round, but OG Esports, you know, getting back to the basics, getting Tanuki back onto the Wolverine, and, you know, playing in a way that really worked out for them and has forced now this map 5.
Chat, question. Is Tanuki the best Wolverine in Europe? Is there someone better on Virtus.pro? Do you have a favorite Wolverine that I don't know about? Drop it in the chat right now. We are going into a game 5, and look how good our production team is. They have one by one gone through our first 4 games and showcased which characters have been banned. Thing, most recently banned, but you can see a whole lot of Groot choices here from Oblivione. Why is that character such a problem for them, Avast?
I mean, perhaps you've heard of Fortnite. There's the no build versus build scenario, and I think Groot allows you to build. You have Ironwood walls, you have the Thornlash walls, and Groot is just really, really good at mitigating the value, like pretty much isolating players, putting a lot of damage. You see Groot's doing a lot of tech with the Thornlash walls now, where they're putting them off the ceilings. You come into an area, okay, here's the right click, here's the Spore Bomb, lashes everywhere, okay, instant death. Like, I think overall that Groot is just really, really good at controlling the field of battle, getting Strangling Presence as well to just force ults at, or maybe even just after the ult's been used, put everyone to a spot where you can easily get a lot of limbs. And maybe Oblivione just feels like, oh, OG Esports, we don't want to have to play in that group. Or maybe they just don't feel comfortable playing the group in return. But either way, it's a very, very powerful Vanguard hero that once they're off the field, there's a lot more room to move around.
ZP, I saw a Groot from Hogs on Twitter where he created a death box. Jeff spit out an entire enemy team and he one-shotted everybody as they got spit out. Can we do that at pro level?
Can we do it at pro level? Well, you'd have to see a Jeff in the pro level, which is easier said than done. Unfortunately, Jeff just not really seen to be quite at that level. But hey, look, if we get through a match and Groot is available and a team just feels far enough ahead that they want to make a highlight reel, look, make the death box a reality. I am all for it. But unfortunately, Jeff is just a harder thing to sell here. But hey, who knows? We might take a little bit of inspiration from, you know, some of our sister products here, and, you know, instead of doing a coin flip for side choice, might do a Jeff 1v1 at some some point. It's on the docket.
Please.
But well, that way, you're guaranteed at least a little bit of Jeff
A
on
little
the
shark
broadcast.
v shark, you know, a little fin v fin action. Let's take a look at our final map. We're going to Symbiotic Surface. This can end up in a full hold, or you could see a very long, drawn-out game. So if you need a cocktail, make it right now. Avast, I have a feeling these two teams are going to be playing it tight. We're in for a good one.
And also, if there was ever a map to potentially see Groot, it would be Symbiotic Surface. I mean, there's a lot of walls. You have a lot of like narrow choke points, especially on the first point in particular here. So we could be seeing some Groot potentially as already right off the bat. OG Esports says, get the thing out of here. We don't want to deal with it.
They can protect the Warlock, though. They
Adam
can protect Adam Warlock.
Adam Warlock.
Ooh, I'm actually so excited about this.
First, though. We got to ban first. Let's get rid of the Groot. Let's just get it out of the way, Oblivione.
I mean, I feel like it's very possible. Yeah,
there it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
5 for 5.
It's a great map for Groot.
By the way, Virtus.pro is just sitting here giggling to themselves. Like, we play strange.
Okay, what is this ban or protect going to be? Do you protect the Warlock? This is all I want to see here, just because it's been a little bit of wondering. It's like, what is the fear here from Oblivione on their side?
It is the Warlock.
The Warlock. All right, we got ourselves some new team comps here for our final map. And we'll see what gets protected for OG Esports. Might be the Hella, just because of the fact that Etsu has been so good on it.
I was going to say, have you guys been insta-killed by Adam Warlock? It happened to me twice earlier today. It's one of the most frustrating things on the planet. He could just throw all of his abilities at you at once. Loki on the other side is going to say, you know what? We're going to have a moment of invulnerability. If you're going to put the Warlock out there, we're chilling. Star-Lord not getting cocooned this time around, Avast.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Oblivione potentially ban the Hella, just knowing that OG Esports with the Loki protection means you remove the team up, you remove those reses that come through, and also that means that it monopolizes the res economy to the Adam Warlock. Only Adam Warlock can res now, right? With the Karmic Revival, with maybe some of the passive, but it's actually going to be Luna Snow being banned, which is pretty. I mean, pretty much denies the Namor team up. It denies the potential for, maybe getting some freezes and the Fate of the World. This is a very
it's the 20-minute dance off that they got rid of with the Loki being protected on one side. They're like, listen, you can have one ult. We're not going to let you have two Luna ults. It's too frustrating, especially on a map like Symbiotic Surface. We have Game 5 ready to go. The players are ready. Your casters for tonight's EU battle. We got ZP and Avast. Drop a follow and listen in to the sultry tones of Tempo ZP.
Well, with an intro like that, how could you not? But Avast, I figured it out. I know why they went with the Luna ban. The reason you go for the Luna ban here is that they're still going to be running Loki, but because they like the Adam Warlock, they're going to be running the Adam Warlock. They don't want to go against a Luna on the other side. You're not going to run it yourself. You get rid of it. You get rid of the double fate of both worlds from the other side. Makes too much sense to me.
I think that, I can't argue with the logic. I can't argue with the logic there. It does definitely change up the comp. So, especially for this map, a Symbiotic Surface in particular, honestly, Luna Snow, great, especially when compared to like an Namor board. Like, Invisible Woman is so strong on this map anyways because of the boundary, because you can just fill up the entire areas because it's kind of a narrow map. It's not like a particularly wide one until you get the last point. So, already, Snae's looking to do a little portal tech. I think just doing some checking, seeing where is the enemy team at? Where is everyone looking? Where are they looking to go? And already just going to ignore kind of that high ground differential you have to deal with approaching this first point and taking everyone to the high ground here.
Very even back and forth here in the back corridor here of Symbiotic Surface. Strange Portal setting the stage. Regeneration Domain already being popped here by OG Esports. Now take a look at Tanuki back onto the Wolverine. Wolverine worked out well last map. Now in and gets the early snatch on the Forever. Carves him up with the bubble. Not enough to save.
A pretty interesting look for Oblivione because they're playing a triple strategist composition. Now it is first fight, right? So you can't really swap. You can't really swap as the defense here, as the defending team. But you're not. I don't necessarily think Adam Warlock is particularly strong into the Wolverine. Wolverine isn't necessarily splitting a bunch of damage unless when you're going for the last stand for that dive ult of his. He's doing a lot of focus damage, where an Adam Warlock is a much better just like spread healer versus a singular focus like tank healer, So I do wonder what the efficacy of this is going to be, and you're really gonna have to hope that Andraco on the Adam Warlock gets a lot of value and damage out from the right clicks.
Yeah, I think a lot has been kind of set up around the Adam Warlock. He was getting banned the entire series long, so Sid Andre has on it things here. as things develop. But I'm also interested in the Hella versus Hella matchup. Etsu versus Demon. Both the most prolific DPS, I think, of their teams at times. But Nocta, quick pick off with 2. Heard me talking good about Demon, says, what about me? Dance the Butterfly in reserve. Doesn't need to use it there after those 2 picks.
And the thing to remember here about Psylocke that makes Psylocke really so scary is you're incredibly mobile. You do a lot of damage here. As you can see, the dash is being used just to help finish off. And also, every time that you're getting a hit with the primary fire for Psylocke, every time you're hitting someone, you're decreasing the cooldown, all of her cooldowns. So you can do more damage. You can be more mobile. So Psylocke is kind of a feast or famine type of hero where the more damage you do, the more you're gonna do in general.
Also note the swap off of the Wolverine in response to the single tank from Oblivione here. Dance the Butterfly, though, being used into the back line. Tanuki, hang on the Kraken impact, waiting for the opportunity here. Wind went in now. Forever down. Only tank dead. Boundary gonna be used in turn. Demon going to the skies. Goddess of Death looking for anything in turn. But Nocta finds Ken into the back line. This Oblivione, I mean, the Psylocke is finding value right now, Avast.
There's the bubble for the Ivagimoto going into the back, finding 2 of the supports. But I mean, there's just so much to say in here. There's no one else able to get forward, follow up on that damage. As now, there's going to be the Goddess of Death in return from OG Esports. Etsu dropping it there from the top. Got to find one Passivo. Going to be taken out as finally OG Esports maybe getting a little bit of ground. They just have to make sure not to lose anyone here to the Meteorium, and they don't. Really, really good Astral Clock there. As they're getting chased down, they might be able to find, but the wall being raised, but I think that should be enough.
Etsu just got completely forced back, and Nocta, again, just being a huge threat on the flank. This time, though, unable to just turn the corner. Got stuck for a second, so Nocta down. Opportunity now for OG Esports to push on forward. And we got a swap here, too. Etsu getting off the Hella, going to a Psylocke of their own.
I really like this because there's a lot of side angles here for both the last point and the second point here. So Psylocke, and you can still go very vertical as, Enzo chasing down on Draco along with the Snaze. They're going to find one. That's a lot of heals off the field now, but Oblivione, they are playing that triple strategist. Still going to be able to sustain for a bit, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. There's so much damage here on the point here for OG Esports.
OG Esports getting gummed up a little bit. They had like 5.5 minutes left for second point. Now down to 2.5. Burning through a lot, but now nearly at the apex of point 2. Tanuki looking around right now. Moment of calm here before the storm really kicks off of Avast.
They're hunting for Nocta. They were hunting for Nocta there. Nocta is invis. You see, there's the portal used. That's Forever going to make it. And it's finally Nocta gets found, though. There's going to be a counter. Invisible Woman ult there. This Meteorium looking to find just one through the ult. Just needs to find one to get any sort of value. Doesn't find one just yet, but still puts a lot of pressure onto them as the Goddess of Death for Demon being used behind them, but I think immediately focused down.
Demon had an opportunity, but no, just taking out Goddess of Death before the boundary disappears. Tanuki punishing as he hits the ground. Dance the Butterfly, though, now out for Nocta. Looking and looking, finds 1, 2 with the FJX, but Etsu fires right back. OG Esports still smothering onto the point. Both teams a little bit wounded here. Counter Dance the Butterfly in time, out from Etsu. And that might be enough for point 2 here, Avast.
I mean, Forever still very tanky, very healthy here on the point. Has 100 Maelstrom to use, but unfortunately the anti-heal, there's no heals there on the point. Maybe some of the spawns can make it back. Draco about to be there. They could use the Karmic Revival just to continue the stagger, continue the fight here if someone goes down. As OG Esports, they're waiting for their spawners. They have the Spider-Man up for the fast recontest here as Tanuki making it back, but Nocta finding one.
Yeah, Karmic Revival immediately being used as soon as Jakes goes down. So Karmic Revival up for a moment. OG Esports probably wanting to back off a little bit if they can. They take down Nocta, but guess what? The Revival is still up. Nocta's right back into it. OG Esports, 1 minute left here, trying to do anything to break on through. Demon with the swap to Wolverine, actually effective, taking down the Strange.
Tanuki has gone back to spawn, by the way. Tanuki went through the portal, back to spawn, and wasn't in the fight. Tanuki left. I mean, that's fine. I mean, it was the reset anyways, but the Spider-Man just took the web and was like, goodbye, guys. I feel very Spider-Man coded.
Best movement in Europe. And
I do think this was a really good, very, very good swaps in general from Oblivione there for the recontest, because they used the portal to get back, and Demon going to the Wolverine there in the chaos, just when everyone's staggering back, just lets them find so many different isolations.
Boundary used. Demon last stand, charge out through, can't quite finish the kill. Almost had it, just not enough. Alex able to sneak back into the invisible boundary. Ken got a mischief, second invisible boundary going on down, and now Demon carving up the Strange, looking a little bit of damage, and they get Enzo towards the end. Oblivione, man advantage. They keep OG Esports off the convoy. And they set us up with ideal winning conditions now for Oblivione on their own attack.
And incredible defense there from Oblivione. I mean, like, OG Esports, it looked like they had something going for them. I mean, I like the early usage of the portals there for the first attack. I think that, you know, they definitely just out-comped them there, just being on that Adam Warlock into what they had. They found the picks they needed, though, for the second. And really what it broke down overall was the recontest. I mean, Forever stays alive long enough with Nocta. Nocta just being such a menace on the Psylocke, using the Invis, just getting constant cooldown reduction, just looking to just burst one. And because of that stall between Nocta and Forever, they're able to make it back to the point again. They're able to pop the Karmic Revival. Demon goes onto the Wolverine, just giving them even more problems. And it just kind of all fell apart there on the second. And it's just the issue of that long walk back.
Yeah, I mean, this is just at times it feels like Symbiotic Service is just very defensively coded, but the upside there is if you're a fan of OG Esports, a better hold, definitely possible. Oh boy.
He's gonna go through the portal. I mean, it was the reset. It was the reset, right? But like, he's out of the fight. I mean, like, I think they might have been hoping that he could go back to spawn, make the swap, get health back, refresh the cooldowns, and come back in again, potentially. But the portal ends, and so they're just down the player.
Oh boy, that's too funny. But we're getting into it. At stake is entry into the money match, into a match versus Virtus.pro for $1,000. Oblivione, they had a good defense to set the stage, but now will their attack be enough to dethrone OG Esports here? The favorites coming into this match.
Oh, interesting. Nocta going on Doctor Strange to get the portal behind it and making swap back to Psylocke, so they don't have to make, but they're still down a player right now in this fight.
Snays finding Forever early on. Tanuki working here towards the back.
Oh, he's so angry. He's so angry, ZP. He's got 100 stacks of the Berserker Rage. And, I mean, and it's a really interesting strategy there. But the one thing that can't happen is they can't have their Vanguard player Forever get caught by the Pharaoh Leap when they're down Nocta. I mean, they're down the damage. They're down a player because they went for that portal strat.
All right, so 1 minute burned off the clock as Enzo. Nice little pick off in the neutral. Gets rid of the Psylocke, slowing down Oblivione even more. And again, when this first point is so difficult to take to begin with the Vast, these pickoffs really do add up.
And like we were talking about, I mean, this is a very, very strong defensive-sided map. So Oblivione, they just need things to go their way just a little bit, or rather, I should say OG, and just getting these constant picks, and then they're gonna get like repeated staggers. This first choke in particular is just so strong here. I mean, just like when you think about like all the convergence maps, I think like all of them have a pretty strong first, but really Symbiotic Services is like one of the strongest in terms of holding for the defense side.
Yeah, I mean, these pickoffs have effectively cost Oblivione a full team fight attempt. Just absolutely ruined in the outskirts. Also letting OG Esports build up their ultimates bank-wise. Now we look at Enzo. Enzo, Meteor M in reserve, Demon, holding on to the Goddess of Death. Oblivione moving forward, Nocta getting pummeled on the entry. Jake's getting super low. He's gonna have to drop the invisible boundary. Barely gets off before dying, but Tanuki punishes Demon while that goes on. Invisible boundary used here by Alex and Jake's respectively. And Oblivione just forced back a moment. Minute 50 left, and this defense from OG Esports so far, Avast has been impenetrable.
Oh, they really don't want to have to lose someone there, and they're not. The Meteorium gonna be used, doesn't find anyone just yet. There's the Goddess of Death pretty far out here of this choke. Gonna be finishing out there. As Oblivione, now this is their chance. This is their chance here to potentially find some picks. They know the region domain's gone, but Jake's going down. That's a lot of health, a lot of healing, a lot of sustain gone.
Nocta dance the butterfly into the back. Takes off Ken. Karmic Revival up. Gets Jake's back into the fight. Oblivione making their stand here. Still have to watch out for the Agamotto from Stays, but they are pummeling Strange. He has to drop the Agamotto under duress, but it still works out beautifully. Takes down 2. Nocta, though, into the back. Gets Tanuki, and the Karmic Revival just too good at turning the tide here at Vast.
And once again, just so much pressure onto Nocta, and they definitely deliver. They deliver there. They needed to get value there. They needed to make sure that when they try to go for this recontest, when they come back in, they get some picks in the back line. As you see, OG still trying to contest here, dropping the invisible boundary. But I mean, Ken using the God of Mischief copying and getting the invisible boundary. Oh, they try to take Forever through the portal. It's not going to happen just yet. It was a nice try. They try to take him away. And I think this recontest might actually end up hurting OG Esports more than it helped, because it gave a lot of ult to Oblivione.
Well, here's what we know for sure. In 3 minutes, we will know who is going on to fight Virtus.pro in our money match for $1,000. 2-2, this best of 5 coming down to this last push here in point 2 for Oblivione. Do they have what it takes? OG Esports setting up on the defense. Not an easy point to get through here, Avast. And we'll see what both these teams have as this match reaches its conclusion.
See there, a little bit of high ground poking, a little bit of fighting for the high ground here for OG Esports. They come back in, trying to set up Etsu, making sure they can get some value here, build up another Goddess of Death. Oblivion on the corner, and something to be noted is that they do have the Dance of Butterfly. Oh, and that's exactly what you have to be worried of when you're running into the Hela on the high ground.
Yeah, quick Soul Drainer into the 2-tap, just gets rid of Invisible Woman immediately. OG Esports, of course, still living in the invisible boundary of their own. Etsu, who is so big at points in the series on the Hela with key pickoffs on the supports, does it again. They take down Demon. And the first defense here for OG Esports, looking good. 2 minutes left for Oblivione.
And winning that fight there, that very, very crucial pick early from Etsu, is equalize the ult banks. It's now pretty much neutralized the effects of that recontest. Nocta, though, finding Etsu again just on this, like, these flank battles, so crucial here.
Yeah, I mean, you get rid of the Hela threat, you give more time to go through. Jake's now open up an invisible boundary. Enzo, response, Meteor M. Doesn't get anything. Oblivione now looking for a way to get a little bit more progress here. Ken got to mischief himself into another invisible boundary. Tanuki, though, on Wolverine here on the side here. Avast gonna be looking for a key play. It all actually could come down to this. Minute and a half left. Gets the snap onto Forever. Do they get the kill, though? The bubble is there, and Forever just gets to walk away.
The soul returns up though for Pasuo, gives everyone the speed boost, gives everyone the heals. There's a lot of dark magic here onto Snaze. Gonna be looking for the Ivag Emoto pretty soon, but the last stand, actually, not even necessary. Last stand, finding 3. And sure, they didn't even get a chance to use the Karmic Revival. It didn't really matter here. As OG Esports, oh, they're even getting a stagger onto Andreko. Oh, no, 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 no. This is just, you just don't want to see it. I mean, it's guaranteed a last fight.
Okay. Final minute here. OG Esports being brought to the limit from Oblivione, a challenge that many did not expect. But it all comes down to this. The winner of the next fight, likely going on the Meet Virtus.pro. Early snatch here on the Magneto, forces the Meteor M. OG Esports a little bit back, stays in danger right now. Drops the Ayakomoto under pressure.
The push!
Still alive! Stays.
Oh, the push again. Jake's just constantly doing that. And there's the dance of butterfly up into the back line. Still, they do have the invisible boundaries. Everyone's gonna survive there as Tanuki finds one. Karmic Revival is still up around Draco, so I imagine they're gonna have to use it soon, very, very soon. And they will.
Final 10 seconds, Ken, God of Mischief. Now Enzo here, dropping the Meteor M into the back line, no pick off. Etsu, though, gets Demon, a huge pick, but the Karmic Revival is there. Demon right back into the fray. Tanuki in. Here on the Wolverine, getting super low, healed right back up into the regeneration domain. Demon, though, is able to get Enzo. Overtime push down progress. Oblivione.
They need to leave. They need to leave. They need to survive for a chance. For a chance, CP here. They have to live. The regeneration domain gets, but they're chasing down. They're chasing. Oh, Tanuki gonna get caught there by Forever, and there's so much damage. They're all stuck in this room. They can't get caught. The body block as well. The body block from Damon. They have to be careful not to lose anyone else. As now, I mean, it's gonna be a desperate recontest for OG Esports.
Oblivione, they've nearly done it. OG Esports need to get the point. They have to stay on it the entire time this time. Oblivione, they're completely drained on ultimates. Tanuki has the last stand. Demon gets on the stage. Does Tanuki have a response here? Invisible boundary is out. Goddess of Death in. Tanuki still hanging on to that last stand. Could put it over the top. Enzo able to take down Forever. This is back and forth. Both teams, entire match online. Tanuki, last stand, gets one. OG Esports holding on in. But Andre KO comes back in off the cocoon. And it's Oblivione who turn it in the end. They defeat OG Esports, what many would consider an upset here, Avast, and win the right to fight Virtus.pro in our money match right after this.
Oblivione, I mean, this team, they were an unknown for us. We hadn't seen much footage of them. They weren't obviously in our last Rivals Fight Night, and there was a lot of scrimbucks. We said, oh, like we've heard some whispers on this team, put our ear to the ground, check which side of the moss was on the boulder, and it looked like the moss was right. I mean, this team looks really, really flexible. They look great across the board. They also have a pocket pick strategy with the Adam Warlock with Andreko that was banned the whole game, and they pulled up for the final map here, and it looked really good. It definitely struggled a bit, but it definitely got the value they needed. The constant sustain, getting a lot of the damage as well from that Adam Warlock. I mean, this team looks like a threat.
Just incredible stuff across the board. And you know what I wonder right now is that if you're Virtus.pro, you know, look, they're in the scrims, they're all keyed in, but if you're Virtus.pro right now, Puckett, you're looking at this going like, I hope we did our homework on this because this was not the expected result.
You were thinking, oh, this $1,000 is free. We've already beaten OG Esports. You didn't see Oblivione coming out like this, especially after dropping the opening map. They come out and they take 3 of our 5, the closer. Nail biter finish, and I was watching. Did it come down to the Psylocke, the dance of the butterflies? Because Nocta was getting to that ultimate so fast. I got to give him and Jake's mad respect. They played their hearts out.
I think Nocta, I mean, they have to be definitely a huge shout out because there was a lot of pressure on them. A lot of pressure on them. I mean, they pulled it to more. They looked really good. They were crucial in that comp when they were playing with the thing. And the Psylocke for this final map of the series was most of the pressure in terms of opening up the fights, in terms of finding a pick, once again, was going pretty much to that player. I mean, they had to rely on Nocta to get the picks they needed to open up the space on the flanks. And I don't know if necessarily the dance of the butterfly was always the pick. It definitely wasn't getting what they needed limb-wise, but it was giving them the space they needed, and they were getting plenty of other limbs elsewhere.
Huge games out of Forever. He played so many different Vanguards throughout it. Ash flexing over to the Venom. We saw Pasiwo coming in for Oblivion, the Latin squad showcasing their depth. What are you going to take away from OG Esports performance as we say goodbye to the runner-up in EU from the Marvel Rivals Invitational? Tanuki, fantastic Wolverine. They looked their best when he was on it. Where else do they need to improve those, EP?
I mean, I think where they need to improve, first of all, maybe homework into Oblivione and where they were coming from here, where I do wonder about the bans throughout the entire overall course of the match where, you know, they feared the Adam Warlock. And look, it did win in the end, but I don't know if they needed that level of fear. I mean, the Wolverine worked out well, but the Wolverine also did get kind of countered a bit by the one tank setups, right? So, you know, it's kind of interesting because I feel like Oblivione just forced OG Esports a little bit out of their comfort zone relative to what we saw in the Marvel Rivals Invitational. So I think to me, the real takeaway from this is that Marvel Rivals is still a young game. It's a game where the meta is changing constantly, and you just got to be continually prepared to adapt because if you're not, other teams are going to come in with different looks and might beat you with them.
My show was on. My show was on. There
was the dance through the port, almost got back through after the switch, not in time. The Wolverine, though, that was one of the highlights. But the one time we see Adam Warlock come through, he ends up winning the game for Oblivione. If you're Virtus.pro, did you pick up on a trick or two maybe watching this Avast?
I mean, Virtus.pro, I think something that they've had a lot of success with in the region is getting to put Tanuki onto the Wolverine, right? And they finally, yes, the map that they got Oblivione off of their double Vanguard and, you know, onto this like triple strategist composition, or rather triple duelist composition. They didn't win, they did win with Tanuki, but they got to see the flexibility of what they could play into the Wolverine comps, right? They could see what Oblivion played to counter it, you know, across all the other maps, and that general flexibility. And I think they need to look at that and be like, and EU in general, and be thinking, do we really need to be playing Venom all the time, or maybe it's time to start playing some Thing as well? Put some more Thing into the lineups potentially.
I like this call out. We have Ash in the chat right now asking, how long is this finals? Don't worry. We're doing best of 5s. First to 3 wins here in Rivals all night long. And yes, we're not even halfway through the show. ZP, for those tuning in to the second ever broadcast, what should they know about Rivals Fight Night?
All you have to know about Rivals Fight Night is that we go out of our way to invite the best teams in each region. The 2 invited teams face off against each other. The winner goes on to fight the champion. The champion stays week over week. The goal here is that we know your time is valuable. We want to get you the best games in the shortest amount of time and make sure that you just have a regular place to go to when you want to see high-end competition in Marvel Rivals.
It's been fantastic so far, and the party keeps going after this as we take a look at the highlights and our MVP performance. Avast, show this man some love. Who caught your eye tonight?
Forever. I mean, we talked about it throughout the series. What the strength of Oblivione was their flexibility. But guess who was not subbed out? Guess as part of this roster depth was considered the deepest, and it would be Forever. I mean, playing across Magneto, across Strange, and especially on the Thing. I mean, that's Thing swap. Pretty much driving those early 2 map wins that are taking them there to the pretty much map's point, or rather match point, and still looking good across a variety of all these compositions. And I think that's what's so crucial when we talk about a team like Oblivione is like, yes, all these players are really good. I think we saw hero moments from pretty much every player on the roster, and we highlighted just how strong they were. But what makes a really flexible team at the top level work is a central pillar, a pillar of a player that you can play across a variety of comps. And often what is driving your overall archetype for that composition, it's your vanguards. And Forever was the central pillar of that across every composition they played.
As a duelist ZP, I put my vote in for Demon. He's looking pretty good on the Winter Soldier. Looked fantastic on the Storm. But he has another chance. The bad news, you're playing against Finzi's Virtus.pro when we come back. Oblivione, tonight's challenger. They got a deep lineup. They've got their owner in the chat, ZP. How far can they go in this series? How many maps can they take off Virtus.pro? Because Peps got 4-0'd last week.
What I'll say is that I don't think any team is invincible in Marvel Rivals right now. The game is too young. Every week is a new story. Virtus.pro, they got wounded deeply by OG Esports in the Marvel Rivals Invitational. Oblivione just beat OG Esports. I don't think Virtus.pro is going to 4-0 this time. I'd still probably favor Virtus.pro a little bit, but other than that, I think we're in for a great EU money match.
Big shout out to everyone tuning in. Match number 1 on the day is done. Before we go to break, do us a favor, drop a follow, hit that subscribe, because when we come back, it's more of the greatest Rivals players on the planet competing on Rivals Fight Night.